Hello YouTube. This is going to be my first angry video really. Um, so yeah, I don't quite know how this is going to turn out, and I apologise if I skip over words and stuff as I get more and more annoyed. Um, yeah, this is kind of a reaction to some of the shit that's been happening on YouTube the last day or two, by which I mean the whole Thunderfoot Islam thing, and some of the truly ugly comments we've had on YouTube as a result of that. Yeah, so I wanted to chuck in my 2 cents worth. I want to start by saying that I'm very much pro freedom of speech. I don't support the idea of any legal or religious limitation on what you can and can't say, and that includes Thunderfoot's videos. I don't think anyone should be telling him that he legally can't say that sort of thing. But at the same time, that doesn't mean we should use that right to say anything we like. I mean, we know this. Think about Holocaust deniers or Abu Hamza or Dr. Kent Hovind. There are some complete fucking morons out there who really, really should learn to exercise the other important right, the right to shut the fuck up until they say something sensible, positive and constructive. It's that simple. To pinch a line or two from Russell Howard, who is a comedian I rather like, who was talking at the time about the MP's expenses scandal in England. Just because you can say something, it doesn't mean that you should. Have some fucking moral integrity and realise that your words have consequences. And some of the shit I've heard to justify what's been going on recently, and from Thunderfoot and the I Hate Islam Brigade, has just been complete fucking bullshit. It just boggles the mind. I don't even know what the hell is going on in the heads of some of these people. The most totally depressing one being that somehow when these people are ranting about Islamic terrorism and Muslim terror and the evil dangers of Islam and this sort of thing, spitting vitriolic, venomous abuse with every sentence, like some sort of cobra with a muscle problem that can't control its venom glands, then we, the listener, the onus is on us to work out that they only mean the extremists, and no matter what they say and how twisted their words are, it's up to us to decipher that they don't really mean the moderates. Somehow, we have to extract from this torrent of abuse and vitriol some semblance of rationality and normality. Well, to that I say fuck you. Fuck you and your fucking dumb shit argument. It is completely intellectually fucking lazy and duplicitous and dishonest, the fact that you can't spend even 30 seconds of your video to make it clear to everyone that you are only talking about extremism, only talking about hardline Muslims that take the works of the Quran literally, or not even that, because the Quran says very, very clearly that killing is wrong, just as the Bible does. So it's not even that. And you wouldn't do it with Christian criticism. You know you don't. You know you take care to talk about creationists instead of Christians. So why is it any fucking different here? Take 30 seconds out just to make it clear that you know the majority of Muslims are just as peace-loving as the rest of us, that huge numbers have actively spoken out against terrorism, and those that haven't have only refrained from doing so because they live in fear of being stoned to death for apostasy in some theocratic totalitarian dictatorship, which I think is fucking well fair enough. If you lived in these sorts of circumstances, I think you would do the same. And if you disagree, then I suggest we bury you waist deep in the ground and hurl rocks at you until you renounce whatever viewpoint we fucking well feel like making you renounce. And we'll see how long that takes you. I suspect not very long. Think about this sort of thing before you make such fucking inane statements about all Muslims, or just Muslims without clarifying that you mean the extremists. Have some fucking integrity for once. Not all Muslims are terrorists. Have the balls to say it. And then, further from that, we then have this completely fucking inane video from Thunderfoot, celebrating the fact that he had managed to get together 9,000 people to do these Mohammed pictures as if that was somehow an achievement. I mean, fucking hell, the man has nearly 100,000 subscribers, and yet he's celebrating 9,000 as if it's I don't know, the biggest mass action in the world. You know, as if he outclasses Gandhi and Martin Luther King put together. And then even more so, the idea that somehow he's gained some great victory for freedom of speech in the fact that there's, as a result of his actions, there's been an increase in censorship in Pakistan. I cannot even begin to understand where the fuck he's got that idea from. It's mind-boggling. And yeah, I don't even think I can begin to argue against it just because I can't see how he's even getting to that point. He claims to be logical, and yet I can't see a single ounce of logical progression towards that argument. There's nothing to counter because there is nothing in this statement, this viewpoint. It's completely fucking empty and devoid of all logic whatsoever. So yeah, so all I have to say to you Thunderfoot horse basically is fuck you. Fuck the lot of you, you intellectually lazy and dishonest bigots. You are not freethinkers, you are simply the product of the white Judeo-Christian society you grew up in, feeding on some 1300-year-old prejudice and a desire to drag us all back into the fucking Dark Ages. Well, fine, have your fucking crusade, but not in my name, not in the name of enlightenment. And the worst part of this is that I actually agree with the principle. I agree that something does need to be done about the rejection of free speech in the Islamic world. Free speech is one of the most important rights that we have as humans, if you can argue that we have it, because, you know, let's face it, a right is something that can't be taken away from us. Anything that can be withdrawn is a privilege. And, you know, I don't think there's any country in the world where they don't have some restriction of free speech. You have, you know, speech at your government's whims. But anyway, I think free speech is worth fighting for, and we need to do something about the rejection of free speech in the Islamic world. And I've seen some very good, sensitive videos done for this Draw Mohammed Day. For example, Aaron Ra's video is a great example of how the day should have been. Free speech is too important not to fight for. And not everyone that did this video thing was in the wrong, but the vast majority were. Precision and delicacy were needed, and most of you just jumped behind the controls of a wrecking ball when what you really needed was a scalpel. There was no care taken whatsoever to make it clear exactly who you were talking about and exactly what was being targeted. Instead, you just carpet bombed the name of Islam, regardless of the consequences, and as a result, what you've done is basically had a massive step back taken for freedom of speech, as we've seen a big increase in censorship in Pakistan. And I wouldn't be surprised if a large proportion of the rest of the Islamic world followed suit. And I think it's a great shame. So, fuck you all. So, yeah. That's really what I had to say about that. I can't stand bigotry. It's backward thinking. It's not logical. It's prejudicial, and it's just wrong. And it has no place in a modern society, in a free thinking world. And to put it forward as if you're some great knight of free thought it's so fucking hypocritical and just deceitful and despicable and just yeah. And I don't know. I've run out of words. Fuck it. You've made the world a worse place today than it was a couple of days ago, and somehow you're proud of it. So, yeah, I don't think there's anything more to say really. Sorry, this video's been quite so agitated and quite so full of swear words, but yeah, the justification for that I think I'm going to steal from a Tim Minchin song recently he made about the Pope, which goes along the lines of, well, if my language annoys you, tough fucking shit. This is the sort of language that one employs when one is this pissed off about something this fucking outrageous. So, yeah. Good night, YouTube.